The Urban Roundtable is honored to have as our guest one of the country's foremost actors and humanitarians, a man who has brought dignity and respectability to the many brilliant portrayals on stage and on the silver screen. He topped off his many awards with the Academy Award Oscar for the powerful performance in An Officer and a Gentleman. Join me in welcoming the legendary Louis Gossett, Jr. Lou?
Hey, man.
Nice to have you, brother.
Hey, Bobby Hook's over there at the other side of the table.
We go back.
Way back.
We go so far back. We want to talk about years.
But Raisin in the Sun, before
Raisin
that.
in the Sun?
Yeah.
You know what happened? Short story, because, you know, I'm interviewing you, not me, but I saw you on a stage at the Walnut Street Theater in Philadelphia in 1959. I was an actor in Philadelphia.
59.
Went backstage, saw you,
That's right.
saw Lonnie, saw Doug,
That's right.
saw Ivan, came backstage. You guys encouraged me to get out of Philadelphia.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
And come to New York. 6 months later, I was in New York, and you, I think, well, I know you were still in the play, but then you were going to lead the play to go out to Hollywood and do the movie.
Right.
And I came in, I played the role.
Absolutely.
And that was the play that prompted me to move to New York, was my first Broadway play, and it's your responsibility to take care of me for the rest of my professional life.
You got it,
That's
man.
what I said.
How much you need?
Well, thank you so much for coming and doing the roundtable, because I know you don't really do that many interviews.
I do enough. I do enough to key ones. I used to do more.
Well, I'm glad you came.
But your history, your roots.
Well,
you ask for something, I'm here. This is for you.
I appreciate
this
it.
is for us. Yeah.
I remember when we played baseball,
Right.
softball actually, for the Negro Actors Guild.
Yeah, Negro Actors Guild.
In the Broadway Show League.
Which George C. Scott is
George
pitcher.
C. Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a mean pitch.
Yeah, he pitched a couple of no-hitters.
Right, exactly. And that's, well, we go all the way back.
Yes, we do.
And I've been so proud of what you've done in your career as an actor and as a humanitarian. And I say that really and truly, I mean it, because I know I've watched you, needless to say, through the years, and you give back, and you want to give back, and you always have.
Well, you see, I was raised that we call us activists and humanitarians, but you and I know that's the natural function of us when we get to a certain age. So a lot of people stop doing that, and when you do it, they say, "Oh, you're a humanitarian," but it's natural. It's natural. When you don't do that, you're off center.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So it's natural to be a mentor. It's natural to be a teacher, a sage, a griot.
Well, now you're a proud grandfather, too. I was just
many
looking
times
at,
over.
I was
Many
just looking at Satie's youngest.
Yeah, many times over. He's a miracle, that young man. His name is Xavier, and he's an old soul.
Look at that. Oh, look. Well, now that's you and somebody. Who's
That's
that?
me and Sherrod. That's the boy
okay.
I adopted off the streets.
Right, right.
I got
That's
him when I was
amazing,
6,
really.
but
Oh, that's a video. Ah! Look at that. Ah! Oh, man, look at that face.
the family's pretty large.
Well, congratulations.
Look
And
for the Christmas cards on the internet.
Right, right on,
The
right
whole
on.
family.
What do you, now I know Logo is still in operation,
Right.
your production company. Can you talk about anything you're doing?
Well, I'm talking about more of service these days. It's because it's all encompassing. I created this foundation called E-Racism Foundation. I took it personally after a while because, you know, our childhood in Brooklyn was a childhood was right after the Depression. There really was no racism. I mean, there was fists and stuff, you know, the guys, the Irish guys and the Italian guys. But we really took very good care of one another. And I was used to that, and which came from that neighborhood with the Barbara Streisands, the Jackie Robinsons, the Floyd Pattersons, myself, Arthur Miller, Neil Simon. We were put in a Cuisinart, and we rubbed elbows, and we dated one another. We played ball together, and that was the renaissance of art and medicine of the East Coast. And we took care and controlled that entire area. So I know you couldn't tell me that because I was black, I didn't deserve it, because they said, well, you could be Superman Sunday. Well, Superman doesn't look like me. he's going to look like you on Sunday. There's nothing.
I like
so I didn't
that.
come from a black neighborhood. I came from a mixed neighborhood.
Right.
So I was maybe almost 30 years old by the time I got to California. And they told me that I was a black man. I couldn't. But I was set in my system. So,
Well, I read your book.
There you go.
And
The
you talk
the first
brilliantly
chapter.
about that.
The
Yes.
first chapter.
Yes.
But
yes.
then again, the other side is that policeman who doesn't know anything about that.
Right.
So it's not racism. It's what information he was given.
It's amazing. That was your first day. Almost. First day in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're
Being handcuffed to trees and stuff. It was almost funny.
Yeah. A wonderful book, and
Yeah, thank you.
just a beautiful book.
Tk you.
Yeah. So Logos.
Well, it's
any
E-Racism Foundation.
productions?
Well, there's productions. Yeah, there are productions.
Okay, all right.
There's resistance, but the resistance seems to be fading away because there's some relevant projects. One of the projects I'm going to eventually speak to you about, and Ted and others, we need to get together and sit around the table and present a highly professional, necessary gauntlet to our counterparts who run this business
Right.
to do a television series that will last minimum of 5 years of the Harlem Renaissance.
Oh, geez, Lou. It's almost like, and I always felt this
Yeah.
coming up, studying the
It takes
Renaissance.
all of us.
I felt as though I was there. Didn't you have that
Yeah,
feeling? Like
it's like we'll look at the history and where's our hip?
Yeah.
Where's
it's like you were there.
you've got FDR, you've got Dewey, you've got J. Edgar Hoover, you've got Langston Hughes, you've got Madam C.J. Walker,
Yes,
you've got
yes.
the Powells, you've got Thomas E. Dewey, you've got movie stars.
Yes.
It's a jaw, it's a hip of American history that nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Boardwalk Empire is one thing, but this is the example, I think, of us doing this together with the Scorseses and the Woody Allens.
The
is
look.
a statement
Yeah, right.
that we need in this business.
The look of that Boardwalk Empire
Yeah.
movie series is really the look of the Renaissance.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it's-
is.
It is.
They're
It's the
having
look
a
of the
thing, but there was no
Renaissance.
Club Harlem. I don't see where's Club
Right? Exactly.
Where's Chicken Bone Beach?
But I think that the Harlem Renaissance,
So
hopefully
missed.
the time is
Now.
now. Hopefully the time is now.
is now.
What a great period in American history.
And nobody should be left out. We
Right.
should all get together. It's going to take so many people.
Yeah.
And some kind of godfather to organize the music, and the arts, and the culture, and the gangsters, and the rich people. And we can bite us a sandwich.
Yes, absolutely. I want to go back for a minute to the early part of your acting
Yeah.
career. I know probably the role that kind of really shot you through the roof was long before. Was long before the
An Officer and a Gentleman?
Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh, yeah.
And of course there was Take a Giant Step.
That's the first one, yeah.
But Fiddler in Roots.
Yes.
What you did to that role, and what I think that role did for you,
Absolutely.
in this business, in this industry. Needless to say, the series was amazing, but that character just stood out.
I knew all about that man. I had men and women in my family, you probably do too, who had to make ends meet. There was a situation of whatever it was, but it did bother the insides of Fiddler. This is the way it is, and if you want to be continuing, here's how you have to know what's happening, you have to make the most of it, and sooner or later you're going to grow in this society. And Fiddler,
Yeah.
it's an absolution of what they call the Uncle Tom. There's no such thing as Uncle Tom.
No.
No such thing.
Certainly, he disproved all of that.
Oh yeah, don't jump. But if I don't make it, then you don't make it. But that's the end of that chapter.
Right.
He was a good man, but Fiddler was so three-dimensional.
Right.
And I found out more and more and more about him, about philosophy, and it's right down my alley, the way I live my life. And one time it's you sold out. I didn't sell out. I just was taught as a young person that everybody can make it.
Yeah.
In spite of what you see in the papers, everybody can make it. I was taught that by those teachers. And those people that I grew up with, who are still alive, are still my best friends today. So in times of crisis, I revert back to that.
Yeah.
That was the best time. I want to bring that up to today, because we definitely need that feeling today
Yes.
here in America and in the world.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why the E-Racism Foundation, you teach those
it's
children.
funny, you mentioned racism.
Yes, sir.
And my son, and I think there was an event that my youngest son, Rob, and he brought me back a T-shirt. And so I have the T-shirt.
Yeah, I mean,
I have the
here.
T-shirt. I have the T-shirt. Watch the sound.
Okay.
Watch the sound.
I'll show it to you later when we're alone. No.
But I mean, the people, and I was mentioning earlier about the people that would be so terribly impressed if they were still with us today, with the fact that there's a black president in the White House, and Diana Sands, and Lorraine Hansberry, and Lonnie Elder, and Langston, and they didn't get to
James
see it.
Baldwin.
And Jimmy Baldwin.
What would Jimmy Baldwin say? Well, he'd be at the White House.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
He'd be there. What would he say?
Yeah.
It's exciting stuff, man. It's exciting stuff. Schools are never going to be out.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't run that.
Do you remember, and it's funny, something that happened just recently, Clybourne Park. Now we know that Clybourne Park is the neighborhood that the youngers moved into in a Raisin in the Sun.
Right.
That play,
yeah.
the play, it's coming to the Mark Taper.
I didn't know anything about that.
Yes, it's called Clybourne Park.
And it's a kind of extension of the Raisin?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. 50 years later.
Who wrote that?
And
Not Lorraine.
the town is all black.
What? Oh,
It's
wow.
amazing, and it's coming to the
The Mark Taper Forum.
yeah, to the
I look
forum.
forward to that. I look forward to that.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
Lorraine Hansberry's reaction to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clybourne Park becomes all
Clybourne.
black.
Yeah.
Very much like Inglewood, you know?
Right? Very good. Very good.
Let's mix it up, you know.
Very good. No,
Yeah, but,
perfect example, great parallel with Inglewood.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I really like Inglewood, you know?
Yeah, Inglewood's
The potential of the place. I used to go there with Steel Lakers. Inglewood's got something going on.
Well, I was lucky enough to have a friend, and he's a friend of yours too. He happens to be our executive producer, Milton Brown.
I know that man.
Yeah, you know
the
Milton.
guy there with the headset?
Invited me to come to Inglewood
Yes, sir.
and be a part of the Roundtable. And I've been coming ever since. I'm almost like I live here, you know.
Yeah.
It's really quite a wonderful
It's quite-
city.
yeah.
And Milton and I, and we'll involve you down the road, and Judy Dunlap,
Yeah.
are kind of envisioning a performing arts center
It's necessary.
here in Inglewood.
Yeah.
And that we'll be calling on you to kind of show your face in the place. But it's that kind of city. It's
Great,
that kind
great
of city.
Christmas contests.
Absolutely.
The Christmas scenario.
Right.
Oh, man, it was beautiful to drive those streets.
Yeah. So now let's go back. Let's go back to. I talked about Fiddler because I thought that role and you and everybody was talking about Lou Gossett, and then all of a sudden, those people who didn't watch your career like I watched it saw you as this drill sergeant in The Officer and a Gentleman, and that performance. Now, juxtaposed to the Fiddler that we were talking about, when the drill sergeant was in everybody's face, and I mean,
right.
it was a brilliant performance.
Thank you.
And we all knew you were going to win the Academy
Well, the
Award.
Marines said, if you don't do this right, we're going to kill you. Now I went down to San Diego and went to basic training.
Yeah.
It was my shot.
Right, well, you had to,
So
because
to
that's the
make
way
sure I did it
that's
right.
the way you do it.
And
That's
they said,
the way
make sure you do it right. And I said, yes,
Right.
sir.
Yeah.
They let me on that base down in MCRD for 30 days.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys came up with me. He dressed me in the morning and dressed me in the evening and said, you did a good time today. And after, when it was over, he said, you did okay.
That's great.
But,
So you went down and did it from
MCRD,
scratch.
Marine Corps Recruitment Division.
Wow.
Did everything but smoke the camels and drink the beer.
Did Richard Gere get that kind of
Richard Gere
experience?
did one really good thing. He stepped away from his movie star role and cooperated with Taylor Hackford and myself, and acted the best performance still to this day.
I agree with that. I agree 100%.
He got muddy and played the hell out of that character. And
Yeah.
should have won that Oscar.
Yeah. Well, I was just rooting for one actor out of that movie. I got it.
Yeah, but it was, then that moved me 10 miles away from everything.
Let me ask you something that's a touchy subject to some people. It's not the subject we're going to deal with later on, but an actor, a black actor who wins the Academy Award for the Best Supporting Actor, what happens to that actor?
Well, I think about this on a constant, because I had to go through the changes of bitterness, anger, resentment, of what else do I have to do to make $1 million a movie? I've done 60 of them.
Right.
And I should be Clint Eastwood, if you want to call it that.
Hey, got
and
an
you can
Oscar.
go there if you want to, or you can find another way to go. You got to get rid of the resentment. So I said, well, if things were all equal in a wonderful world, a television series and a great hero should be Jim Brown should have his own stuff, as many people as he beaten up. I should be able to be a filmmaker like Clint. I've got some stories that I want you to know about. And I started comparing most of these African American men who became famous by beating up on a white man. It sinks in to the psyche. It's not conscious, it's not obvious, but even in society, we're kind of separated and respected, and we hang out together. But since I go through my deep psychological things about my stuff, it's the other person has to have the same in theirs, which we have to get rid of. But that's all I can think of.
Sure.
Is it sinks so hard, especially if you become world famous by beating up on a white man.
Yeah.
Same thing when you have a white. I can speak my mind.
Oh, absolutely.
A white actress, wonderful white actress, Raquel Welch, or the girl that did the thing with Lawrence Fishburne. Once they have that romance, when lips and bodies touch, their careers are gone.
Wow. That's heavy.
Right? So now, you couldn't speak that way before, but at 75, if we want to get rid of it, we have to speak it,
Got to talk it.
put it on the table, and get rid of it. Because neither one of us, regardless of color, in this country or nationality, can get along without one another.
Absolutely.
But the basis has to be the absolute truth, regardless of what consequences.
Yeah.
And all things being equal, Jim Brown should have a television series. I should be able to do films.
Sure.
And we should rub our elbows together, like the Harlem Renaissance.
Like the
I say,
Harlem
I'm bringing
Renaissance.
you this gift. Let's us do this together.
I wanted to touch on it, Lou, and I'm so glad that you're willing to just speak your mind on it.
It's time.
Because, I mean, you hear it. You hear it, and people say, well, like this guy won the Academy Award for crying out loud. And, you expect something else, and what you get is not that something else.
Right.
And you just put it concisely the way it should be put. And you got to just push it.
Got to push it. Now, because of that resentment, I have a thing that I brought forth in my family. My family did like their Sneaky Pete stuff. I got into drugs because I was resentful.
Right.
Now I learned that the worst resentment you can have is the one you feel justified to keep.
Right.
The only person that's hurting is yourself. I got that from Nelson Mandela. I said, man, you should be mad coming out of here. You should tell everybody. He says it would have only killed me and my people.
Right.
So mine started to dissipate. I got rid of it. But the people who don't want you to make it bring that up day in and day out with their finger in my face. And I had to get to the place where I could smile at them and say, that's not the major part of my life.
Good.
Yet the punishment far exceeds the crime. If you look at some of these people today, they should not be working. And they've got their careers back in triplicate. That resentment had to go away too.
It's amazing. I mean, and we don't have to call any names.
That's
You get
just-
these people that they get into all kinds of things. And you think,
Weekly,
right? And you see them in jail. They're doing the perp walks and whatever. And all of a sudden, they're doing $20 million fee movies. I mean, it's amazing.
But it changes your value. The value is what we learned in Raisin in the Sun and Roots. It's the quality of and an Negro ensemble. We are artists. That is priceless.
Yes.
You get $20 million on one hand, and you've got the reputation and the intention of Negro ensemble, Raisin in the Sun, and the Blacks on the other. Which one would you rather have if you had a choice? One is invaluable.
Right.
The other goes when you spend it.
Yes.
So now the value system that we as minorities, I believe, need is the one that lasts from generation to generation to generation. Not the short attention 15 minutes of fame. So even though it might be all over the screen, that we're the biggest and loudest stars in the world, the really essence of our continuum that we have to teach our children is the stuff that nobody can take away from us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Are you having fun with your grandchildren?
I'm having a ball. Especially when I speak and they say, no. They listen. So that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's my job. It's natural.
Yeah.
That's what Grandma used to do to me.
Right. You have to be proud of Sati, your oldest son.
Oh, the big guy, Bigfoot. He's
The big
cool.
guy. Yeah, he is he's bigger than you.
6'6". And the young one, he takes care of me.
Right.
Sharon, he's a master chef.
Right.
Takes care of my logistics. Took him off the streets of St. Louis when he was 6. And now he's incredible. Great father, great person. I'm blessed.
You are blessed.
Yeah.
You are blessed, and you deserve it all. What do you want to do with your acting career, Lou?
It's not acting so much. I know there's parts out there, but that's not the priority. My priority is mentorship, education. That's what I do. That's what I think we should all do. That's the way it was done to me and my family. The elders do the teaching. We do the direction. We nurture. We pass the message on. From back at Africa, that's the way we did it, all through slavery.
Right.
Before, until maybe integration, we passed the message on, how you behave. So now we have a lost, so-called, quote-unquote, lost generation. No child should go out of their door without the knowledge of who they are, where they come from, without respect for the elder, respect for the opposite sex, a dress code, hygiene, physical fitness, spirituality. Before they open that knob to go out the door to go to school, that's our job to teach that child.
With your experience, is it easier or harder to pass things on to
It's getting easier. It's getting easier because kids are beginning to look for an answer. Because what they're doing in gangbang is getting a little old on them now. It's time for transition. Things never stop.
Right.
So if we have a window, we have a window. And my age, and maybe just maybe starting at 60 or 50, when you find that window, whether there are children or not, we have to take the time to give them the information. What they do with the information is one thing, but if we're going to stay on this planet, we have to pass this message on.
Do you think the high-tech revolution has anything to do with it?
I think it speeds us up a little bit too fast.
You think? Yeah, you know, I agree with that
Yeah.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful, but the person behind it has got to be grounded. Otherwise, we're at the moon when we should have been in, Namibia.
The digital divide.
It's a little too fast.
Yeah.
But God's in charge there, man.
Yeah, and we can't ignore it.
No, we can't. Ignore it.
Right.
I
We
think
have
the
to
one
deal
good thing
with
about
it.
is Twitter, straightening things up, so that's cool.
Right.
But
It's amazing this technology
Yeah.
and the age that we're in now.
very exciting.
Oh, geez, and
Very
the Steve Jobs loss.
Yeah.
This guy was.
He emptied all of it out.
Oh,
He's finished. He's somewhere else now, inventing something else.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're from the old school, so we can look at the new technologies and give our own feelings about it. But my kids and your kids
Yeah.
come along and they're into
they
it.
teach me this
My
stuff.
I was going to say my granddaughter.
I don't have a thumbprint to do that one time. I keep putting two letters at one time.
I
Give me
know.
2 hours to say hello, how are you?
I know. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Let's talk politics for a minute,
Yeah.
Lou. Well, we're getting ready to go into this, or we're already into a new campaign season, because Barack Obama is going to, of course, be fighting like crazy to get a second term. I think he will.
I do too.
What is your feeling about where we are politically, since there has been a black president for 3 years, certainly?
Well, it's ironic, but I think the fact that he's a black president is the least of it. He's acting like the president. And what he's brought to the surface are black people expecting him to be Malcolm X or somebody who's I'm going to take care of y'all.
Yeah, right. But
it's flip-flop. It's not. It's the JFK thing. What can you offer our country? No, what can your country offer you?
Yeah.
So now there's certain elements that we got used to, We got used to the welfare, and we got used to the checks and being underground and double dealing. We got used to that. We know how to do that. Now, it's time for a three-dimensional, full-blooded, African-American, responsible, to vote, take care of his neighborhood, himself and his family, and it's a little alien.
Right.
But necessary, because this country is going to need us in order to survive.
Absolutely.
Parents, there is an important new law for all incoming 7th through 12th graders in California. All students going into grades 7 through 12 are required to get a whooping cough booster shot called Tdap.
This new rule is important for all our kids. I know firsthand. Last year, my son got whooping cough. It was horrible for him, and something no parent wants to go through. At times, we felt helpless watching his violent coughing fits, and there wasn't much we could do to stop them. Thank goodness there is a vaccine that can prevent whooping cough.
Check with your child's doctor now. If your child hasn't received the Tdap shot yet, get it now to protect against the ongoing threat from this dangerous disease. Don't wait. Help protect your child and your community. Contact your doctor to see about getting your 7th through 12th grader immunized today. To learn more, visit shotsforschool.org. Message brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
If you're a California homeowner struggling to make your mortgage payments,
and you don't think there's anyone who could help,
you should know there's a federally funded program that may be able to help you.
Keep Your Home California can help you hold on to your home and avoid foreclosure.
even if you're collecting unemployment, even if you owe more than your home is worth.
Call Keep Your Home California today, 888-954-KEEP, or visit keepyourhomecalifornia.org.
Give me your take on this guy, Herman Cain.
Herman Cain, that's adequately in Palestine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He's a very important man.
Yeah.
Very important man, because there's a lot of people like him on all sides.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably going to be the vice president's candidate in the Republican Party.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't.
There's common sense there. He shouldn't be a president. There's something for him, but I'm not going to put him down.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
There's something. His background is some. I know those people.
Yeah.
I know those people.
Right.
There's nobody in America I should put down.
Oh no, I understand that.
Because
I understand that.
he would not exist in the Republican Party 8 years ago.
Well, he certainly is a conservative Republican.
He's a
There's
conservative
no question
Republican,
about it. I don't know. He may get that nod. I think it's probably going to be Mitt Romney
We'll see.
on top.
We'll see.
I can't imagine anybody else.
And the reason why they put him up there, obviously, is so they can balance out the look.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So you think maybe vice president?
I think he's a Republican vice president, possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah. Possibly.
Vice president candidate.
Candidate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Candidate.
Yeah. No, I think that we're really seeing some very interesting things happening politically
Things are
with this
changing.
divided government, with the fact that they do not want this man, Barack Obama, to get another term as president.
Why do you think that's?
Well, they're saying it every day. You got the leader in the Senate saying that his main job is going to be to keep this man from becoming two-term president.
So, like, if he comes up with a program, right? Barack Obama comes up with a program, and you're the opposition, you come up with a counter-program, and you discuss it.
Well, that's,
There are people not coming up with a counter-program.
They're not.
I don't care what the program is, he's got to go.
Right, exactly. And that's if there was a program, a counter-program, then I think they would have an argument.
Yeah.
But they don't. You just can't fight the man and not bring something to the table. And that's why I think it's going to be tough, but I think that Barack Obama will, and I have a lot of people disagreeing with me, I think that he will. You even said something early on. I think he's going to ease into a second term.
I think it's a landslide.
You think it's a landslide?
I think it's what I said about that Southern policeman. Mm-hmm. I said about the Jim Brown and me not getting out. I think people don't even realize on both sides that it's still there in the DNA. In order to get rid of the DNA, which is the toughest thing to get rid of, we have to come to a realization that it's something we have to do to ourselves and our next generation. So that if it's in us, it automatically is in the next generation. We've got to interrupt that process. And I see it interrupted in all kinds of people in this country. It's a great country, great country.
Oh, yeah.
But the DNA of automatic assumption of superiority, the automatic assumption of superiority that somebody has to struggle to be equal, that whole DNA thing's got to be set aside.
Right.
So we can look at each other, behave together, and by example, people will copy that. That's this generation.
How about Obama's health care? You think Obama's health care piece? I mean, he's now. You think it's going to hurt him or help him?
He's. I don't know. I don't know. I tell the story if I have time. Hopefully, I have the time. But these three men who go to a bar, and one's white, the other is Latino, the other's black, and one of them looks over the shoulder and he's shocked. There's Jesus with the 12 disciples having dinner. So the white man says, "You know what? I'm going to send him some vodka." The black man says, "I'm going to send him some Moët Chandon." And the Latino says, "I'm going to send him some tequila." And 15 minutes later, Jesus comes, "You gentlemen send us the libation." He says, "I want to thank you." So he takes his hand, puts it on the white man's head, and the white man says, "I've had migraines my entire life, and you've healed me. Thank you." He says, "You're welcome." Goes to the Latino and puts his hand on his shoulder, and the Latino says, "I had bursitis. Oh, all this time, and you've healed me." He says, "Thank you, you're welcome." Goes to touch the brother, but says, "That's okay, Jesus. I'm on disability.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. That's brilliant. I like that. That's brilliant. Let me move into the subject. And I got to tell you, I was so proud. I was sitting watching CNN. So proud of you. I mean, a courageous move, unselfish move to really come out with the fact that you are in your early stages of prostate cancer. And I thought, what a brave thing. And I'm not just stroking you. It really touched my heart that you did that.
Well, I met some of the top doctors in this town. Plus, there was the controversy, the pharmaceutical controversy. And I couldn't find a doctor who would tell me anything other than, take 2 of these and come back in 10 days. We're going to cut that. We're going to do this. And I've got this new device. And I said, what happened to the doctor? Back in the day, they used to call me and ask how I was, or came to me and looked at me and did an entire examination so it didn't happen again. What happened to the doctor whose children I grew up with? And finally I said, if I don't find out where these doctors are, I'm going to die. So I made it public, spoke in Congress. The man who ran Congress at that point, he had it. Half of the people, the ministers. And I said, well, when you're past 50 years old, I would highly recommend that you find somebody and do the examination a minimum of twice a year, maybe 3 times. But you've got to find that doctor who absolutely cares whether you make it or not. Not his new car or his children's scholarship, because that's the mentality that's trying to be prevalent. I have since found a Nigerian doctor, an Iranian doctor, an Egyptian doctor who call me 3 and 4 times a day to make sure I'm all right, as a result of having gone public.
As a result of
having gone public. Now I'm spokesperson. Spokespeople make it.
That's great.
You know?
No, and you look fantastic.
I feel good.
I was going to ask you how the treatment was coming.
I'm in remission. If you know about the Gleason, I'm 0.11.
Wow.
And I've had 2 kinds of cancers. I have 1 kidney, and did the radiation for the prostate, and my Gleason is 0.11.
And you look wonderful, my friend.
Very grateful for 75 years old, you know?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah. I'm right up there with you, too.
Yeah, man.
Doggone it.
Let's go to Central Park, man.
Remember? We played on the same baseball team
That was
together.
a great team, man.
It was a great team. I'm going to tell you, George C. Scott, and a lot of people, you remember a lot of people just didn't understand that George C. Scott, this white guy, was pitching for this black team.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go back, because I don't want to digress. The PSA controversy.
Yes, sir.
I mean, there have been studies done, and, give me your thoughts on whether, whether people should take them or not.
I'm learning a certain personal lesson, just for what it's worth. I'm trying to write another book about this kind of mentality. I don't know if it's right or not, but it's working for me. The PSA controversy, the fact that so many African-American men suffer from prostate cancer, high blood pressure, etc. There is one story, and there's another story, and then there's the truth. And the seeking of the truth might be independent and individual, but I find that the diseases I pulled in myself. I pulled in, and I still might have gotten it, but I pulled it in really deeper when I get angry and resentful because of inequality.
Right.
Before woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda. And what I do to myself because of it, I eat foods that are too fat, I don't get enough sleep.
Right.
And I put a fluid in my system that might just, if I have cancer, make it worse.
Right.
Now there's a spirituality that I've put aside for the comfortable feeling of anger. And I've got to pull that spirituality, because then that takes me out of first place, because God is in first place. So now if I got this cancer and I put those negatives, I'm going to get cancer. It's natural for the minority men to get high blood pressure, cancer, because we're pulling that stuff in. So one of the things that I think might help is for us to, God's got a sense of humor. Because we have to really straighten up.
Right.
This is our job, to teach the young people by example. And if we do that by example, then it seems to, we come up with better answers, take better care of ourselves because we are teaching somebody, and the ratio of sick African American men who take better care of themselves goes down. We take better care. We go and get our checkups 2 or 3 times a year. We have a bad tooth. We take care of it right away.
Right.
We hurt somebody. We apologize right away. We're of service. And the impetus of that thing that we should be aspiring to makes, if we do have the disease, less and less. We take care of it early enough, and we continue on. That has been my case.
So, anger?
Well, you could be angry,
Yeah.
but you got to get rid of it real quick.
That's what I mean.
You know?
Because I know a lot of people that get angry so fast.
Like that.
So fast. And it stays with them too long. It's got to affect you.
Imagine Nelson Mandela. There's the Nelson Mandela thing.
Right.
How come he didn't say kill everybody? It would have hurt me and hurt people. That's my lesson.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is truly amazing.
In spite of what's really going on out there. In spite of it.
How does the average person react to this information that the government, these research things keep unfolding?
I think we listen. We listen to we watch television. We read the papers. We get the information. We get the polls. We have to read between the lines. We used to do that. We used to sit backstage and Raisin in the Sun and see the New York Times and Brooks Atkinson, and he'd pan something that we thought was good, and we'd come up with our own conclusions. We need a little bit more of our personal opinion, regardless of whether it's popular or not, because there's that reality, and there's so many different realities. We used to do that. We used to walk the streets and sit at Orchidia and come up with our own concept, as opposed to what we saw that the New York Times said. And Ebony would say one thing, and then the Herald Tribune would say another.
Right.
We said another.
Right. Dang. I had a guest on earlier, an earlier show, that uses music and dance to kind of to get her patients in the right frame of mind in order to deal with them. That sounds like something that
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. As long as when we're doing that, we seem to live a long time. Now, enough has happened to me in my life that I should not be here. That's enough evidence that God has got me in the palm of his hands. It behooves me to let him run things.
Did you
whether
always,
I like it or not.
Forgive me, I'm sorry. Did you always feel that way? I mean, I remember Lou. I remember the progression of Louis Gossett Jr. Are you more spiritual now?
Much more spiritual now. I was Sunday school before, you know. God was in charge. Only on Sundays.
Only on Sundays. Because I remember the Mondays and the Tuesdays and the Wednesdays. We shared a lot of them together, you and I. But this happened to you over a period of time.
And experiences. And when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, it depends on the decision you make, whether you stick around or not. And most of the time, the spirituality is deep enough to make the right decisions in order to traverse the danger. And there's a lot of mistakes. You go back there and look at the mistakes, because all I have is today.
Right.
I'm so grateful, Robert, to be alive, to be cognizant, to be able to think, to be grateful, to be able to contribute at this age. It's not the norm. It should be the norm for all of us. And I'm grateful to see you. There's us talking across this table.
Yes.
I miss Uncle Doug, man.
Yeah, jeez.
I miss Lonnie over there.
Yes.
I miss it. But we have to carry what they're on, their message on.
Yes.
But you got Ted Lang. You got some wonderful people that I want to pull in so that we make it necessary that the next generation knows our stories.
Yeah. Are there any actors, anybody in this industry that you can see this spirituality being turned into an art form for, you know?
I love Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, I love Don Cheadle.
Okay.
He's got one foot in one place, one foot in the other, but I love him.
Yeah.
There are a couple. Another kid, Nick Cannon.
Yes, young
Something's
kid.
going on there.
Very, very talented
Something's going
young
on
kid.
there. And a couple others.
Yeah, you feel it. I did too. And I saw him, I said, wait a minute, this kid's got something real special.
There's some Pied Pipers there, those brothers.
Yeah.
If they were turned around and that same stuff comes out, ironically, Kanye West, he just needs a man's, if he allows it, a man's direction and honing.
Yeah,
There
I
was
don't
no dad
think
there.
that. I don't think I understand what you're saying
There was no dad
about
there.
somebody like him. Oh, I like him. He's very talented and all
Yeah.
that, but he does need some guidance.
He's a loose cannon.
Yes, yes. People like that. Now, if he were in the industry as an actor, or whatever, but in that genre,
Yeah,
is
those
so
Pied Pipers, they have such
Yeah.
influence, such influence.
and they're so wealthy that they don't need any guidance.
Well,
this is the feeling.
I
you
think
get.
we all learned that when you have wealth, you can say, is that it?
Right, right.
So you have $20 million over here, and you've got this roots over here.
Yeah,
$20 million goes, the roots is invaluable.
yeah, yeah.
You always gonna get that money.
Strength is important too, Lou.
Oh, boy.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it
because
is.
I mean, we're all strong.
Yeah.
But when you go through the kinds of things that you've gone through, strength.
Well, that's our legacy, is it not?
Yeah, yeah.
That's our legacy. It's time. I think the country cannot survive without the best of us contributing. The best of the minority. We know what it's like when there's no money. We know all of that. So we have to be relied upon positively. A positive input
Right.
has to be put into this country. The country can't do without it.
Right. Speaking of, you used to be, and you probably still are. I am certainly a Laker fan.
Yeah.
What is your thought? Well, first of all, I don't know if we're going to have a season. I don't think we're going to have a season.
Yeah.
Because if we can't get 60 games, then I don't think.
Then it's
Yeah,
like
right.
baseball.
So you're feeling about the basketball situation?
I don't know. There's a lot of question marks. I don't know what. I didn't talk to Fish. He's kind of busy,
Right.
But why? I know 2 years ago they planned this confrontation. The owners are seeing that the superstars leaving them and they're going bankrupt.
Right.
Like in Cleveland and Boston getting all these, the big three, and then Miami. That was happening a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They were planning this confrontation 2 or 3 years ago. What it's about, I'm not quite sure. But they forget about us.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
we
where
need
Da-
that,
Yeah. I don't know where David Stern. I don't know.
It used to be a
Brian
way to make money.
Brian Gumble has made an issue out of the Stern thing.
I don't understand.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's been as impartial as he should have been.
I see. Yeah.
Brian Gumble.
I don't know what it
feels
is.
that.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Could be
yeah.
the DNA.
Yeah, you're right.
Could be.
You're absolutely
We don't
right.
know. We don't realize it. But
Yeah.
I think we have to approach that DNA at a young age, which is why I had the foundation, at this old synagogue kind of thing. You get these kids to practice how to live without racism at 6, 7, and 8 years old. And when they get older, it's their responsibility to teach the ones younger. And keep that, each one teach one all the way up until 18, 19, 20, and 21 years old. So by the time they get to Congress or someplace where they sit around the table to make a decision,
Yeah.
it's not about pharmacy. It's about somebody else's life. It's about compassion. Now it's about, I'm going to keep my money and you can't have none.
Now,
That's 7-year-old stuff.
Right. Do you do the circuit?
Yes, I do.
You do the college circuit,
Yes, I
whatever,
do.
to talk about
It's my best
your
audience.
life and
Yeah.
and all these other things that we've talked
My best
about.
audience.
You
From
do.
high school all the way up.
That's got to
From
be
middle school all the way up.
That's got to be very, very. That's got to be fun, first of all.
That's great. It's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah. And do you do a lot of it, or you?
I
wanna
do a lot.
more?
Now I'm concentrating. I have a job creating the New York Film Academy, West Coast, at Universal. I teach there.
Oh, okay.
I might be teaching also at University of California, Channel Islands, which is 35 minutes from my home.
Okay.
Same subject, the application of the arts, professional application. But what has to come before that is a philosophy,
Okay.
so that you can understand that philosophy.
Sure.
This is you'll have to get as deep into your art as possible. You can't put a dollar sign on it. It depends on how much you want to put in and what you get out.
Right.
And it's getting exciting. I'm in my 3rd week of auditions.
Okay.
Some pretty exciting people.
So nothing is going to stop Louis Gossett Jr.
Except to him.
Right.
When he says it's time for me to go, I'm gone.
Right. And
Yeah. There's an impetus there.
yeah, he's going to give you a
Yeah.
good little while to do that, my
Well,
friend.
it's up to him. My great-grandmother, she lived to be 112.
112.
112.
There's a long life.
Yeah. She was sitting around the kitchen one day when about 80 years old, and our 2 girlfriends from the First Baptist Church of Sheaves that Bay. One lady says, I think I'm getting a little senile because I went to get something out of the refrigerator and stood there with the door open for 10 minutes trying to remember what I wanted. Second one says, I know what you mean. I stood in the doorway of my closet for 10 minutes, trying to remember what I was doing standing in there. My great-grandmother says, you should be ashamed of yourself, talking about how old and senile you're getting. I'm at least 10 years older than both of you. And thank God. Who is it?
Who is it? What?
Yeah, somebody else at the door. Nothing is ever.
Well,
112 though.
Right. Well, we got 3/4 of a century under our belts, so you know.
I don't mind.
No, I mean I'm feeling good. You're feeling good.
I'm fine.
Shit, you know. I mean, shucks.
Yeah.
The foundation.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about it.
It's what I just said is the formation of this place, synagogue, for lack of a better word. I call it a Shamba Center.
Oh, okay.
It's a Swahili word meaning farm, where it's since those basics, these kids, we used to learn in our families and in the neighborhoods. There's no kid out there in the street hungry. Come in here, sit down at the table. Dirty, take those clothes off, take them and hand me down. Feed what we used to do to one another in those neighborhoods. And what I got, completely ethnic mix. No kid was able to walk those streets without their stomach being full, without them being loved, with some clean clothes, because we were a neighborhood. And to create that atmosphere one more time is the African American kids have to play a little catch up.
Right.
Latinos do. They have to learn where they come from, their history. The elder has to be active again and tell those stories about where they come from. Then they have to have respect there. The dress code, you can't walk around without a dress code. They're taking their neighborhoods back. They have to be taught the hygiene, the spirituality, upon whose shoulders they stand, conflict resolution. All of this used to take place in the home, the neighborhood, and the synagogue and the church. We need to bring that back so that there's a respect for the opposite sex.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Right.
So how is it? Is it going to be a government supported
Well, it's a
thing?
curriculum that my dream, sometime in the next 12 months, to show by example a place called the Racism Foundation School of Learning, Learning of Life.
I love
where
it.
kids must come, apart and aside from school. And we do it at a small level. And it's hard to, you have to threaten the kids to go home. Because I do it with my grandchildren. What things can you do? And there are brilliant people out there who do these lessons. How can you get these people to need one another? What kind of games do we have? Sometimes you go to the zoo, sometimes you play Monopoly, sometimes there's smash ball. Whatever it is, we kind of grew up together the way I grew up. It becomes indelible. And when you do it successfully and you're old enough, then it's your responsibility to teach the newcomers.
Right.
And slowly but surely, the DNA gets real small. Racism will never go away, but it can be ineffective.
Would this be a 501c3?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Apart and aside from the established school system,
Right.
so that we send a better child to the school.
Right. Right.
And so that's not mine.
Yeah.
It's evolved.
Sure.
But I think I've gotten some calls from 17 of the diverse mayors of America. Dave Bing and Kevin Johnson out of Sacramento. And
2 basketball players.
yeah,
that we
they're my
watched.
brothers, yeah.
Right.
And then the guy Kip Holden out of Baton Rouge. One of them centers in my town.
That's great, Lou. I mean, well, you're a 501c3,
Yeah.
so you know you can get those contributions to make the
It's
foundation
time. It's
really
time to try
real.
that. Take it. You know?
Yeah.
I do have to pay my bills.
Sure. Sure.
You know, and but I think it's successful in the sense that they're trying to starve me to death. It's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I see the
Geographically,
conflict.
this is it's universal. This whole thing.
Universal.
Very right.
But I think it's the key to global peace. The one I think in summation, I think number one problem that we all should concentrate on is the salvation of this planet. On 11/11/11, we have this concert at the Agape Church.
Coming up.
Salvation of the planet. It's called Peace Link.
Oh wow.
11/11/11. Well, that's what we all have to concentrate on.
Right.
If we concentrate on it together, then it's God's way of putting us together. Number one commodity on our planet is not oil or atomic energy, but our children.
Children.
So if we're not concentrating on those two things, we may as well be on a 747 airplane. It's 30,000 feet, and it's plummeting to the ground. But people inside the plane fight over who's going to be in first class.
Are you agape?
I'm in sympathy with them. I love them a lot.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I love them a lot.
Just wondered.
Highly respect them.
Well, there's been so much
Yes, sir.
across this table. First of all, a lot of love, because we've always been dear
Yeah.
friends. And when Milton said that Lou's going to come, that made my day. I told Lori, my dear wife, whom you know.
Hi, Lori.
Yeah, see, Lou sends his love. I told her, she says, "Oh, say hi for me. Say hi to Louis for me." So, needless to say, I'll do that. And come back and see us.
I intend to.
Come back, because we'll be at the round table. We're on course, and so
Yeah. I wish
hopefully
you the best of luck. It's important what you're doing.
I think so. I think it's important for the community. I think it's important for the universe, really, because we get people like you.
Yeah. We sit around and open our mouths,
Right.
honestly, and come up with a solution.
You started with a play called "Take a Giant Step," and you have truly taken many giant steps. This is another one.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Louis.
My
Take
pleasure.
care.
Right.
It's our pleasure to reveal the winner for the best performance by an actor in a supporting role.
The nominees are Charles Durning for The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas,
Louis Gossett Jr. in An Officer and a Gentleman.
John Lithgow in The World According to Garth,
James Mason in The Verdict.
and Robert Preston in Victor Victoria.
Funny, Chris, but two of those performances could have been performed by women.
Yeah, I guess you're trying to say that this year's Oscar Derby is partly a drag race.
Not right. Okay.
The
and
winner...
the winner is...
You better do that.
I would be glad to. Thank you very much.
The winner is
Louis
Gossett
Gossett.
Jr.
You know, when you prepare a speech, it's no use because it's all gone. I tried to get my kid to come up here to share this with me, but there are some special people I would like to share this with. Specifically, tomorrow is the 17th anniversary of my relationship with my one agent, Mr. Ed Bondi. They say marriages don't last. I've got a spirit that guides me, starting with my great-grandmother who died at the age of 117, and my mom and dad, who I know are watching, and my cousin Yvonne. Thank you. You make everything fall into place. And all you other four guys, this is ours. Thank you.